Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. This feels very strange to do. I'm definitely not used to talking to a camera, so please bear with me while I'm getting, the hang of this. But I have been wanting to start a knitting podcast for a while. I love watching them. I love talking about my knits. I have a couple friends who knit, but not too many, so it's definitely fun to get to come onto Instagram or YouTube and share in my love of knitting with some like-minded people. So that's what I'm gonna do. For those who don't know me, my name is Allison. I live in Montreal, Canada. I have been knitting for just about 5 years. I started in October 2019, so we're coming up on 5 years, which feels crazy. It was definitely a great time to get into that hobby, considering what was going to happen just a couple months later. And being stuck inside and unemployed for a 6-month period during the pandemic, knitting was definitely a great outlet for me, and kind of gave me something to do to pass the time, and something to do, keep my hands busy while watching TV instead of, scrolling on my phone, whatever. I'm gonna start off today by jumping into some of my fall knitting plans. I have just a million. Realistically, I will probably get to like maybe 5. So a lot of this is going to be kind of just wishful thinking, maybe things I would like to knit into the winter. But there are actually quite a few projects that I do have yarn for, so I will start off with those and then get into more kind of like dream knits for the rest of the season. I'll just mention really quickly, I'm not going to show it because I don't know who's watching these videos, but the first knit that I am kind of prioritizing into the fall, hopefully I'll have it done by the first day of fall. We'll see, I gotta get going. Long story short, I got married in May. I had 2 maids of honor, my best friends for, decades. And I told them that I was going to knit each of them a hand knitted garment. So I took just some, measurements and preferences from them and then got to work. One of them is finished. One of them is in progress. I won't be showing either. Again, I don't know if they're watching this, but that's kind of the priority right now. It's a bit more of an involved knit. I will be happy to share it once I'm finished and once those gifts have been given. But for right now, my first fall knit is kind of a little secret. My second priority right now, and I haven't actively knitted on this since probably May, but I would like to get it off the needles, is this whip that I started back in February. I was hoping that this would be kind of a spring knit that I would get a lot of wear out of in the spring season, when it was still, cold enough to wear this. And then summer started and I just didn't have any desire to be knitting with this fluffy yarn. So I kind of put this knit on ice for the time being. But I'm pretty excited now to start working on it again and, hopefully have it finished by the fall and winter. It's definitely a more springy color, but I think it'll work just fine in any season. This is my Darling cardigan by Kutuvakika. It is a drop shoulder v-neck cardigan that I'm knitting up in this super fluffy yarn. This is the brushed alpaca silk from Drops. So I'm knitting this with the brushed alpaca silk held double, to get more of a bulky gauge, I think. The pattern says bulky gauge. I don't know that I would classify this as bulky, but because it is knitted up on 5.5mm needles, it is giving quite a loose open gauge, which is really, really nice. It's super soft. I was afraid this might be a little bit scratchy. I think I tend to prefer the feel of a brushed alpaca to a mohair, at least for Drops. That's been my experience. But yeah, so I am on the first sleeve right now. It's not looking like much. So about this pattern, Like I said, it's knitted up in a bulky weight, fluffy yarn on 5.5 millimeter needles. It's constructed by knitting the back panel, picking up for both the shoulders, joining under the underarms where you would cast on a couple more stitches, knitting all the way down, and then it's finished off at the bottom with a really nice 2x2 rib. I actually already went ahead and did the button band on this because I knew it would be the most time-consuming part and I just wouldn't want to revisit it once I was finished the sleeves. It is a double knitted button band, which I think this was my first time doing a double knitted button band on a cardigan. I have done it as an accent on a camisole in the past. But yeah, it is definitely time-consuming. But I think worth it because it gives just a really nice finished look. That isn't to say that ribbing wouldn't look good, but I think that having the double knitted button band makes it look a little bit more store-bought, which isn't always what I'm going for. But in this case with a really fluffy yarn, it's nice to just have a neat finish on the button band. So yeah, I'm on the sleeves, which I am notoriously bad at completing in a timely manner. The number of sweaters I've just put on ice as soon as I reached Sleeve Island. But I do really look forward to wearing this garment, so I'm just gonna power through and get this off the needles and hopefully have this nice fluffy bright pink cardigan to wear throughout the winter. I also already have the buttons for this cardigan. I picked up these kind of pearly, sort of, I guess, off-white buttons at a local fabric store. And I think they'll look really nice on this pink. My next fall knitting plan is another whip that I started last week. Because the gift knit I'm working on is a little bit more involved in the pattern, I wanted just something that was kind of mindless stockinette, and I was procrastinating on the sleeves of my darling cardigan, so I decided to cast on a dad's sweater by Emily Curtis. I saw another knitter who I follow on Instagram, Chelsea from True Lane Knits, knit up this pattern, and I remember seeing her photos of it and loving how it was kind of giving just like a really relaxed, slouchy sweatshirt type vibe. Very casual. I know that the designer has mentioned in the Ravelry page for the pattern that she kind of modeled this after the sweaters that her dad used to wear when she was a kid, which is just really sweet. So this is a top-down sweater with set-in sleeves. First time I've ever knitted a set-in sleeve sweater, which is kind of fun. Just very basic stockinette stitch the whole way around. So far, this is what I have. I have knitted up the back panel with the increases for the sleeve, then picked up on the left, knitted the left front part, and now working on the right front. Like I said, I only started this last week and I've been knitting it in between my other more involved project. So I don't anticipate this being done anytime soon. It's just kind of a fun little stockinette thing to have on the side when I get, bored of knitting cables. I'm knitting this up in the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted. I'm a big Knit Picks fan. Very affordable yarn, but nice quality, tons of color selection, tons of fiber selection. So you will be seeing a lot of that in this video. The Wool of the Andes is a 100% Peruvian highland wool, so definitely not as soft as a superwash merino would be. Definitely has a bit of a rough, rustic feel to it. I haven't knit too much with really rustic, woolly yarns, so I don't have a lot much to compare it to, but I have used the Wool of the Andes bulky before to knit up a cardigan, and I have not found it to be too irritating on my skin, probably because it's a cardigan and I am always wearing something underneath it, but the idea with this sweater was to kind of have it as sort of like a sweatshirt that I would throw on over something when I get cold at the office or at home. So I think I should be okay. It's not too bad on my skin, and most of it won't be touching my skin anyway. I totally forgot to mention the pattern is knitted up in worsted weight yarn on 4mm needles. And the pattern also comes in a standard and a broad shoulder version, which I thought was nice to offer both of those. All right, now I'm going to jump into the patterns that I have not yet casted on. I haven't even swatched for any of these, so we'll see. Plans might change. I'm just hoping that I can use up some of the yarn that I have in my stash on these projects. So the first one that I would love to knit up, that is pretty high up on my queue, is the Sadie sweater by Ozetta. This is a top-down drop shoulder sweater. Feel like I'm already sensing a pattern. But this one is quite different from the dad sweater. It is knitted to have 6 inches of positive ease. It has these really nice rolled edge details at the neckline, the hem, and the cuffs. Just a very, very basic drop shoulder kind of light sweater design that I really think I could get a lot of wear out of in the fall. It's knitted on 4mm needles with DK weight yarn, and it is designed to fit a bust circumference of 76 to 152 centimeters. The yarn I'm planning to use for this is a yarn that I initially purchased for summer knits that didn't have anything in mind, just bought it because I thought this would be a great summer yarn to use, before remembering that I get hot just so easily. I'm sweaty, don't like being hot, so summer knits are not usually my thing, and if I do knit something for the summer, it has to be kind of in a very particular fiber content. So the yarn that I had purchased for summer knits was this linen quill from Purl Soho, which is a 50% fine Highland wool, 35% alpaca, 15% linen blend. My concern is just that this is too much wool and alpaca for a summer top. I would definitely get sweaty, and because it's white, I don't think it would hold up too nicely with too much sweat and heat. So I figured it was probably better suited to a light summer into fall pullover sweater. And so that's the plan. This is a fingering weight yarn. I think I should have enough in my stash to hold this double to knit the Sadie sweater. I think I might be playing a little bit of yarn chicken, but absolute worst case scenario, I'll get another skein of this yarn. This is the color Wheat Flour, I don't think I mentioned. Just a really nice off-white, and because of the linen, it does have a few little like linen-y bits. I don't really know how to describe that. But yeah, so that's the linen quill. Hopefully will become a Sadie sweater. I don't have too many white or light colored knits, so this I think would be a really good addition to my wardrobe. Last year I knitted the classic ribbed hat, I believe it's called, from Purl Soho. This is a free pattern. It comes in sizes from baby to adult large, so really, really great hat pattern. If you just want a basic ribbed hat for free, perfect pattern. I've knitted it up for a couple of my friends' kids by now, one for myself, one for my husband. But this year I kind of wanted to branch out and try a different hat pattern. So I know the Oslo hat by Petite Knit is just extremely popular. I've knitted it once before for a friend. This was years ago. I was still not as confident with knitting as I am now. I don't think it turned out the best. I don't think I blocked it properly. But I did enjoy knitting the pattern. Definitely open to trying again, knitting one for myself in the future. But the hat that really caught my eye this season was the weekend hat. Similarly to the Purl Soho hat, the weekend hat is also knitted in 1x1 rib all the way, but it features a double folded brim, which could be nice for those cold Canadian winters we tend to get up here. It's knitted on 3.5mm needles with DK weight yarn, and my idea for this was to use another Knit Picks yarn, the Knit Picks palette. I believe this color is Victorian. It's on the front, yeah, Victorian. I have a pretty neutral camel colored wool coat that I wear in the winter when it's not too cold and snowy. I also have a giant parka that is a very similar color to this actually, kind of a dusty pink, red sort of color. A bit hard to describe, a bit lighter than this, but I think they would look okay together. And I just really love this pink. I think it would look good on me. So yeah, I've had this in stash for quite a while. I purchased 4 balls of it. Don't know that I had a plan in mind for it. I think I just liked the color. Assuming one day down the line I would use it to make some kind of winter accessory. But yeah, I think this is the year. I think I will use this held double, I'm not sure if I mentioned that, to make myself a weekend hat. And yeah, should be a pretty quick knit, and hoping to have that for the winter so that I can get some variety, because the hat I knitted myself last year is a bright highlighter green yellow color, which I do love and is now very brat, but isn't the most versatile when it comes to what I can wear it with. I have worn it with my pink parka. It looks fine. In a snowstorm, you don't really care if you match, but it would be nice to have some other options. So I am looking forward to finally using up this palette. My next plan is for a sweater that is not actually released yet. I believe it's currently in testing, will be out within the next month, hopefully. But it is the Kip Sweater by the Creabea or Rebecca Clow. I saw her post this like maybe 4 days ago and decided I want to knit that. From what I can tell in her descriptions, it's not too involved of a stitch, it just involves knits and slips. I've never knitted anything like this before with this kind of texture, so I am really excited to see the pattern and jump into it. From the looks of it, it is just a all over pattern drop shoulder sweater. I have never knitted a sweater from Rebecca Clow before, but I know that the stick season sweater was really popular last year or earlier this year, and I've kind of had my eye on her designs for a while, so I am really excited for this one to come out. I believe it's knitted up in a sport weight yarn, which I have in my stash as well, so it was meant to be. This is more Pearl Soho yarn. This is the Good Wool from Pearl Soho in the color Teal Abyss, I want to say. Teal Abyss. I have 4 skeins of this, so I think that should be plenty for a sweater in my size. I really like this yarn. I've never knitted with it, so I can't really say too much about how it knits up or how it wears, but just it is a lot softer than I expected it to be. It's a 100% Andean Highland wool. And yeah, I just really fell in love with this blue color. I do not tend to knit or wear very much blue at all, which is a shame because apparently I'm a winter and apparently blues would look great on me. So I'm experimenting now. I have knitted a blue camisole in the past, admittedly have not gotten too much wear out of it because I did knit it a little too short. That's a project for another day. I might go back in and make it longer, but for the time being, this will hopefully be my first blue knit that I actually wear. So I am very patiently awaiting the release of that pattern. And yeah, once it's out, I will probably cast this on right away, unless I still have 3 other projects on my needles. Then maybe I'll finish one first. But yeah, super excited about that, and just like, I can't get enough of this blue. I hope the camera's picking it up. It's just gorgeous and soft, and I love it. My next fall plan might end up being pushed into like an early winter plan. We'll see. It is the Monday sweater by Petite Knit. I feel like everyone and their mom has knitted this sweater at this point. It's a very basic raglan top-down sweater. The Monday sweater is designed to have 15 to 20 centimeters of positive ease, so just a basic slouchy sweatshirt. It features a folded neckline, which I have been loving more and more lately, as well as short shaping in the back just to raise the back of the neck, which is kind of a non-negotiable for me at this point. And it is designed to fit 80 to 100 centimeters bust size. It's knitted out of DK weight yarn on 4mm needles. Petite Knit holds, I believe, a fingering and a mohair together in hers. And the reason why I wanted to pick such a basic sweater construction is because I am super, super excited to be using a really, really special Surrey alpaca lace yarn that I purchased from a hand dyer. I got the Surrey in the Flock colorway from Woolberry Fiber Co. I've never been to Flock, would love to go one day, but these became available to order again this fall, and I've had my eye on this colorway since last year, and I was impulsive and just went for it. So I got 3 skeins of the Surrey, which should be enough for a sweater in my size. We're gonna deal with it. And I wanted to just pick a really basic kind of sweater to showcase how beautiful this speckled yarn is. My plan right now, I don't have yarn in stash for this. We'll see. I might get some more. The Surrey's currently on order. I don't have it yet either. Fortunately, can't show it, but I will insert a photo. The main yarn that I'm planning to use for this, I will probably get something from Knit Picks, because the Surrey was already quite expensive. I don't really want to break the bank on a merino to pair with it. So the plan right now is just to probably pick up a plain neutral colored fingering weight yarn from Knit Picks to hold with the Surrey. I am so excited for this colorway. I think having the neutral kind of base yarn with the speckled Surrey held together will just give a really nice, pretty subtle coloring to the sweater, but I think it's gonna look just so gorgeous. And I've never used a hand-dyed mohair or Surrey before, so I am just really, really excited to see it, to feel it, to knit with it, to wear it. I know I'm gonna love this sweater. I cannot wait to receive that in the mail, and yeah, I think once it arrives, I will probably drop everything to cast that on the day I get the yarn, because I just don't think I'll be able to wait. The last 2 items on my wish list are 2 cardigans. I feel like I have a lot of garments. I'm not the biggest accessory knitter. I'm trying to get into that. I'd love to knit my first pair of socks this year. I've been knitting for 5 years. I've never knit a pair of socks. So I have some stock yarn in my stash from Knit Picks that I would love to make a pair of socks, probably for my husband. He loves wearing wool socks. So that might be a winter plan. For now, mostly garments. But yeah, I'll just rapid fire. I don't think these are going to realistically happen this fall. Maybe in the winter, maybe later. But they are 2 cardigans that I've had my eye on for a while. I just from this one cardigan I'm knitting, I'm already feeling a little bit burnt out on cardigans. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the back and forth, lots of purling. Admittedly, these 2 that I have my eye on are patterned all over, so definitely wouldn't just be the plain stockinette, you know, monotony of having those rows of hundreds and hundreds of purl stitches. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Realistically, I do get a lot of wear out of cardigans and don't have all that many, so I should be very eager to cast these on. They're just not speaking to me as much as some of the others, so they're going to be put on the back burner. The first one that I had in mind was the Agnet cardigan by Petite Knit. This is knit, I believe, in entirely brioche stitch, which I've never done. I've done a half fisherman's rib. I think they're similar. They look similar. And it has a double knitted button band, so it looks really gorgeous. Looking at this pattern, it's so daunting thinking of doing all of that brioche. And I think it's probably pretty slow growing. I know knitting the fisherman's rib goes a lot slower than I had expected it to. But anyway, I think it's a gorgeous design. I love, love, love the red color that Petite Knit used in her samples. So I got this yarn in the color Hollyberry. This is also the Wool of the Andes yarn, but this is the sport weight. This is it here. So definitely not as bright red as the sample photos on Petite Knit website, but I figured this kind of more cool toned bluey red would look really nice on me. I also am in the process of knitting a bright pink cardigan, so I think maybe having a little bit more subdued of a red color would be a nice addition to the wardrobe. I don't often tend to wear super bright colors, but when it comes to knitting, sometimes I'm just drawn to these crazy colors that I've never worn before. So it's kind of fun. It's expanding my wardrobe a little bit, getting me out of my comfort zone. But yeah, I just thought this was a really gorgeous color. I don't know if I mentioned the color is Hollyberry. This is again a 100% Peruvian Highland wool. Rustic feeling, just like the worsted that I showed before. And yeah, I'm hoping I have enough of this left over to also make a hat, because I think a hat in this color would just be amazing. I don't think I have enough. I'm not against ordering more at some point. But yeah, I would love a red hat. So that's the Agnet cardigan. And then the other, maybe I would love to, but it's probably going to be time consuming, is the Jenny Jacket V-neck, also by Petite Knit. This stitch is just gorgeous. I believe it's called a smock stitch. And the plan for this was to knit it also in palette from Knit Picks. I knitted a sweater in palette last year, or early this year actually. First time I had ever used palette, and I loved it. They have just the most insane color range I've ever seen of any yarn, and are very reasonably priced. So I didn't feel bad buying a full sweater quantity of this. This is the color Gosling. Again, 100% Peruvian Highland wool. I would hold this double, and yeah, I think a gray cardigan, you can never have too many. I actually already do have a gray hand-knitted cardigan that I've made, but it's a bit bulkier of a weight, and it's just a plain stockinette design. So I just really love the look of the Jenny jacket. Again, quite a bit more detailed than stuff that I normally wear and knit, but I think it would be a really lovely addition to my wardrobe. I think it is one of those knits that will likely take just forever to finish, and will just be a really stunning piece once it's done. I just remembered that I actually have already swatched for the Jenny jacket. This was earlier this year, using the pink palette color that I showed before. So this is what that looks like. And I think for how honestly simple it is to do, it looks really impressive. The smock stitch is basically a 2x2 rib, I believe, but you are knitting through, I think, 6 stitches ahead and then pulling the yarn through to kind of create this little belt detail, like the stitches are wearing a little belt. Yeah, I think it's really cute, and I actually also really love it in this color. Do I need another pink cardigan? I don't know, but yeah, I think it's beautiful. I think this is the prettiest swatch I've ever made. And yeah, I hope I don't run out of the Victorian color while I am knitting my hat, because I don't want to undo this. All right, that's it for my fall knitting plans. Likely won't get through all of this, but it is kind of motivating putting these lists together. Hopefully can get through some of my stash yarn, because I just have so much that I need to use. So I hope this wasn't too much of a slog to get through. Still getting the hang of this. I hope to make videos semi-regularly. I think I'll get more comfortable with this as I go on. And yeah, I hope to make more knitting related videos soon. Don't want to bite off more than I can chew, so probably 1 or 2 a month as of right now. I am headed off on my honeymoon to Italy in a couple weeks, so we'll see if I'm able to get more videos out before then. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for sitting through this. And hopefully I will have more videos soon. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and have fun knitting.